Welcome to Backseat Confessions Podcast. Slide into the backseat as we listen to mostly anonymous strangers tell us stories from their lives. I'm a rideshare driver in Atlanta, and the people getting in my car have absolutely no idea I'm going to ask them to share. My commitment to you is to tell at least a snippet of virtually every story recorded in my car in the order they were told to me. My hope is that you laugh, cringe, cry, but mostly connect to these amazing people. You may find a piece of your own story or just feel more connected to the rest of us. Join us, won't you? So, hey, my new friend, this is an adult podcast. Themes and languages are definitely not suitable for everyone. Listener discretion is advised. What is up, my dudes and dudettes? Today's ride is just fun and interesting. There are no super sad stories, and even the ones with struggle all end up pointing to important life lessons. So, wherever you're at right now in life, I hope you're able to take some time to laugh and learn from these great riders today. Buckle up, amigo, because it's time to take a ride. Yeah. Okay. All right. I feel like the title to our first rider story could be, "Don't Knock It Until You've Tried It." She finds some really good lovin' from an unusual type of lover. On a technical note, you will hear some popping when I talk, and I apologize. I'm guessing the foam protector must have come off my mic, and honestly, I just didn't feel like cleaning it up in post, so here it is in all of its pop and glory.
Story number 116. Saturday, January 30th, 2021, 12:19 a.m.
Oh, okay, so my story is about this time I went to a festival and I was supposed to meet this guy afterwards.
Okay.
And basically we're just gonna say that it's like you didn't realize you fornicated with a crackhead.
He didn't?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
So, so we sit there, and this guy, like, meet him off of Tinder, and, like, go to meet him and his friends at this hotel room where we're, like, hanging out, doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Then, like, we're drinking, doing some other stuff, all that fun.
Yeah.
And then, like, we started, like, fornicating, get done.
I love that you use the word fornicating, by the way. It's so biblical and old school. Like,
I know.
it's
I
fantastic.
love fornicating. It always makes it so much better.
Yeah, right. It
But,
just,
like, so then we sat there, and after we were done, said guy had, like, some fun. That I don't know what I can say on here.
You can say literally any word, anything you want is totally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's no restrictions.
So, like, you want to do a little fun nose time stuff. And so then we do that, and I'm just like, why won't you do it with me? And he's like, I have a deviated septum. And I'm like, what? So then he proceeds to, like, put it in this pipe and, like, light it.
Oh. This dude was a pro.
That's what I said. And I was like, I feel like that's crack. And he was just like, no. I just have, like, a deviated septum. So, like, I can't do it the normal way. And I was like, but I think that's crack. And then I was just like, I think someone's calling me. Like, I definitely have to go home. I have to return back.
So, okay, up until this moment, was the sex and the time together pretty good? Like,
it was. He was very thorough, very in there, and I get why he was on crack.
He was on crack. I love it. So crackheads can be okay lovers. I had to check.
They will get in there and be very thorough and very loving. He was very all about me.
Oh, that's really
sweet.
sweet.
That's really sweet. You're like getting in there, loving it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care. He's
right,
just
no,
like, I don't care if I
crack.
go.
Yeah,
he just wants you to do. Yeah, he had the energy of a million people.
Of course he did. Yeah,
he was on crack.
Oh my God, that is the funniest thing ever. So this is like in the whole world of, should you have a crackhead lover, you can give the pros and cons.
I can. I didn't realize I could. I didn't think I ever would.
Right, yeah, wasn't on your bucket list.
Yeah, I was like, maybe if I stop by like a trap house or something, that possibly might happen. But like, I just go to regular nice 4-star hotels and you can get loved by a crackhead.
You know what? I feel like there's a bumper sticker or a meme or some inspiring slogan somewhere.
I should probably make one. I really should.
Yeah.
I should make one.
Get a 4-star hotel and get loved well by a crackhead. That is inspiration.
And they won't even, worry about themselves.
No.
Because he didn't. He was just like, this is all you.
Oh my gosh.
And,
so of course, I totally get it. You're out of there. Did you ever have that moment later where you're like, oh man, I should have hung around. I should have gone on another date. Or were you pretty happy with your decision of no, I needed it was fun while it lasted. But I had to go.
Yeah, I was like, we gotta go because somewhere down the line, I don't want to explain the crackheadedness for anyone else.
That's
now
fair.
I'm gonna be going along with the deviated septum,
right.
And now I'm lying to myself and him. That was already bad. I get it. Maybe I could have, Amy Winehouse and them. They had perfect lovers that were drug addicts.
Yeah.
But I don't sing, so I don't think it would have benefited me.
Oh my God, you are a delight, and you've just made my night that much better, Miss B. Thank you so much for sharing and for making me laugh. And I hope somebody else gets I hope somebody drives off the road laughing. Nobody gets hurt.
No one gets hurt.
No one gets hurt, but just has a good time. So thank you for sharing.
I hope they love it.
Yes, you've definitely brought joy to me, and I'm sure to many others are going to when they hear this.
That's perfect.
Oh well, you're perfect. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
OMG. First of all, what a fantastic story. I mean, who would think that crackheads make for selfless lovers? I've never heard of such a thing, but again, don't knock it until you try it, right? Mostly though, I just love her joyful and warm personality. She's one of the most fun and enjoyable riders I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Our second rider today is one of the rare instances where I got to give the same person a ride more than once. There are a handful of those, but obviously it's unusual. A couple of times they just happened to come through a rideshare app, but for a select few people, I gave them my number so they could reach out to me directly for a ride, because I wanted to get a story from them and we weren't able to get that on the first time around. This is one of those cases where she kept my number and I picked her up and got this story. I loved getting to hear from her because it took me behind the curtains into a world that I just don't know a lot about.
Story number 117. Saturday, January 30th, 2021, 2:59 a.m.
Oh my goodness. So the last time you seen me, it was nothing but good vibes. I get in there, my friends started making it rain on me, And all of a sudden, this waitress from New York comes in my section.
Okay.
And makes the dude throw money on her while my money's on the floor.
Okay.
When I tell you, I said, okay, well, I was like, how much you throwing her? He said $100. I said, okay, I'm going to take $100 off. Do you know what my boss said? Oh, I need to stop acting broke and just split the money with her. Excuse me? What do you mean? So we're supposed to split the bag. You know, we have sweepers to pick up the money. So
okay, and for the podcast audience who probably has no idea what we're talking about.
Okay,
so,
a sweeper is somebody that
hold
sweeps
on. What do you do for a living, love?
I'm a dancer.
Okay, you're a dancer. Okay, and so and by the way, when you explained the rules of this last time, I was it was like a whole new world to me. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So so as a dancer, you don't just get to keep the money.
No, we get to keep all the money, but we pay up front. Like it depends, like $75 to like $150 to $200, depending on the event
just
or who's
dance.
there. Yes.
Okay, and that's almost like for you that's almost like a door fee.
Yes.
And then, but didn't you tell me that basically as part of this whole thing that like there is a percentage of what you're getting from the patrons, you're splitting with the house as well, right?
Oh yes, certain nights, yes, we split the money.
Okay.
But it hasn't been like that lately because there hasn't been that many girls. They know it's wrong.
Okay.
To get us like that. Now, if it's over like probably 10 to 15 girls, then we'll probably like have to bust it down with the club or whatever.
Okay.
Like, but yeah, with that situation, I didn't mind splitting the money with her when I really realized, you know what I mean? Like she brung the people from New York because New York's closed because of COVID.
Yeah.
But it wasn't right because you're not a dancer. Like I paid to get in here, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I looked at my boss like, dang, you're supposed to be on my side. Like I understand these is your people from your hometown or whatever, and you're trying to make sure they eat or whatever, but that's not. Yeah. That's not cool. You know what I mean? Right. Because she ended up running off with the whole bag. My bag and her $100 that she had in the bag. So that's like probably $450.
Oh gosh.
Yes, like I was sick. Like I didn't even go to work the next day because
Did you tell this to your boss?
Yeah, my boss looked at me like I was crazy. He was drunk, so you know, he didn't really care.
Wow.
He was like, go talk to the dude that collects the money. Well, guess what? I don't want you guys picking up my money no more.
Yeah.
I'll put it in my leg warmer.
Right, yeah. Oh my God.
It's the leg warmer for me.
Yep.
So it's like you think that they have your back, but it's like they're more protective over the waitresses than us. You know what I mean? Because they're just collecting our money, and these girls like work for them every day. We only work for them for like 1 or 2 days.
I got you, because you're almost more like an independent contractor.
That's what I am.
Yeah,
like, I don't understand like why they get over on people like that or whatever, but you know, they see how much money we're making and they just take advantage of it. So you know, it is what it is, but I humbled myself. I didn't go to work the next day,
right? And
I was mad, but like I had to calm down. You know what I mean? Like you don't just take a loss like that and just like let it go. You know?
Right.
Like $450.
Yeah, that's
like a regular person would kill you for that.
Right? Like, yeah, that's a lot of money.
I just took a day off. You know what I mean? Enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
Drink some wine or whatever, and then went to another club just so I wouldn't have to think about that.
Gotcha.
But I might end up running into her right now. You know what I mean? And I don't know
what you're gonna do.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's why as soon as I walk in the door, I might get a drink.
Okay, yeah.
As soon as I walk in the door.
Right.
You know, so I won't think about it because my friend was like, is it worth, you know, jeopardizing your job?
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's really not. He was like, you already made double that.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, oh, don't do that. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the principle. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like I said that, like we were supposed to bust the bag down, like, meaning busting, like we're supposed to split it in half.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. She ran off with the whole bag. Like, how did you guys let her leave early without splitting the bag with me?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I never seen that before.
Wow. Wow.
And the dude that collects our money, he's like, oh, yeah, I was wondering why she was trying to get the hell out of here so fast. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
So you didn't bother to come get me? You was right there when you picked up my money with her, so you knew that we had to bust that bag down together. So why would you let her take a whole bag by herself? I don't understand that.
No,
like,
not good.
Yeah.
Well, I will say you always seem to keep like a positive, upbeat attitude.
Yes, you have to in this society. Like, it's a different world. Like, you ever seen like Masons and stuff like that? They don't allow certain people to come around. Yeah. That's basically like me with dancing. Like, I don't like to dance with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have the same vibe I have. Like, their energy is like dead. Like, a man could throw $1,000 and they're like, oh, I'm ready to, can we go? I'm ready to pick up the money. With me, I want to see this guy again, and when he sees me again, I want him to throw another $1,000 on me.
Right.
She doesn't care. I care.
Yeah,
I want somebody like to, every time they come in town, they want to call me.
Right.
They say, oh, I'm at your club. I'm here for you.
Wow.
That's what I'm on. Like, the girls that I work with, they're not on the same agenda I am. So that's why they get mad at me. Like, when I make all the money, they don't understand. I'm just so humble. Like, I wait till the people are ready to spend money on me.
Wow.
Like, I'm not forcing them. Like, oh, you ready to dance right now?
Right.
It's just like, I don't want to be a bully towards the customers. Like, because it's like, it's not like how it was like back in the day. Like, with strippers, they could just walk up to the man and be like, do you want to dance? And he says like yes or no.
Right.
But now, like, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
The man automatically says no. Like, if you just walk up to him and say, oh yeah, you want to dance, you don't even ask him his name or nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said they still have that mentality. And a lot of girls I dance with, their mothers used to dance.
Oh.
So they have the mentality of their mother, or what their mother used to do.
Wow.
That was back in the day, sweetheart.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That was back in the day.
So you treat it like a professional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I already don't want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just, it's so many spirits in there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
When you hear church people say the devil's in the strip club,
right.
He literally is.
Wow. So
I seen it for myself one night, like when I was sober.
Really?
I decided to see like how it would be if I didn't drink no alcohol dancing.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Really?
Yeah, you cannot be sober.
Okay, so tell me, like, what was your experience the night you stayed sober?
Oh my God, I've seen so much stuff, like,
okay, when you say you're
prostitution.
Okay. Wow.
Like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Girls rubbing men's, private parts. I was like, oh. It's like, it's a lot I'm seeing right now. When you're drunk, you're not paying attention to nobody.
Oh.
But when you're sober, you're just sitting there. I made money though.
Right.
I made a lot of money.
Sure.
Because I was so focused. But I would never do that again.
Really?
Yeah. And then, like, with the women bumping into you or, trying to step on your money, when you're sober, you'll think about it and you'll want to snap. But when you're drunk, you'll laugh. You'll laugh at them. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still going to get paid. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't block my blessing. So.
Wow. And you said that you also were like picking up on sort of the spiritual side of things?
Yes.
Okay. So like how does that work for you? Is that something you sense and feel, or do
yes.
you, okay.
Like, I might go up to a man and sit with him, and if his energy is wrong, I won't dance for him. Okay.
So okay. And even when you're drunk, even when I'm drunk, like, okay.
I'll make sure that I don't go to nobody that's going to ruin my night.
Yep. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because this girl that I used to dance with, she knocked the man out the wheelchair. What? He owed her $300. She knocked him out the wheelchair. Ooh. And ran in his pockets and got her money out.
Oh my!
And then he called the police on her.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
So I've seen from experience what other girls go through. Yeah. To get their money. Like, I don't want to have to like beat you up. Yeah. To get my money. Like, I'm not doing that.
So on our last ride, I talked to you about like I want you to get with a financial advisor, because I mean, you make enough money to where if you were smart with it, like, you could really, really set yourself up. And I know not a lot of people that are dancers do that, but you're so bright. And anyways, just love to see all that. But like, so you're saying that you have to stay a little bit drunk just so that you don't notice all the stuff, and you got the spiritual stuff going on. I mean, I get that it's good money. How are you able to just keep doing the job you're doing, stay as professional as you do, when you're saying you really don't enjoy it?
I love to dress up. Like, okay. You see, last time I had a different wig on. Yeah. Now I'm short. Yeah. It's just fun for me to look like a different person every day. Like, every other week I might change my wig, but sometimes, like, if so many girls are watching me, I would change my wig in 3 days. Okay. Because I'm drawing too much attention. Okay. That's why I always like get like hair that's like low key. So like, if a dude's throwing so much money on me, you can't see me. All you see is the money going up the air. But like, my hair was yellow. Yeah. When I tell you, everybody in the club seen me, and they seen every customer that I had because I had the yellow hair. never again will I ever go that bright.
Okay, but my question is like you're saying you don't really enjoy that atmosphere of that place. Like, are you literally just staying there for the money, or
yes, the money's good. Like when I tell you, so many people are so loyal to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have sex with them. I'm like a counselor for them.
Yeah.
Or they just miss me because I dance in Miami, so it's like when me coming back home, they get excited. They like, man, I miss you. Like, these girls ain't talking about nothing. Like, they're boring. They two-stepping me, and I'm like, two-stepping you. And it's like, oh yeah, like you're in the church choir. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. So I guess for you, you're able to, even though the environment is toxic in so many ways, there's parts of it that you really enjoy, including dressing up, and then obviously
just changing people's lives. You know what I mean? Like that's why I be trying to tell like a lot of people, like, you don't know why somebody came to the strip club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I met a guy that used to work at a radio station. They said he only had 6 months to live.
Oh wow.
He's still living.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because.
So okay, hold on. So maybe I misheard you then. You were saying earlier just about like the spirits and
like for example, like.
But here's my question real quick though. So okay, so like half of what you were saying before makes me feel like you're not like it's not your favorite place to be. But then on the other hand, it sounds like there's some like you're connecting with people on a very human level and all that stuff. So like. On balance, do you feel like you do enjoy what you do or you don't? I
enjoy it with the customers, but with the dancers, I hate it.
Okay, so it's the other dancers.
They make it the worst. That's why I get ready at home. Because, just in the dressing room, like while you're getting ready, somebody can bring your spirit down so fast.
I gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean? If you don't have a backbone. That's why I try to tell people, like, yeah, it's all fun. You see me make a whole bunch of bricks, like make a couple of thousand or whatever, and it just looks lit. But just imagine what I went through.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's girls that's, they have pimps.
Oh, wow.
They have men that convince them to give them money all the time. So I'm going against them, and they have kids. I don't have neither of these things.
Yeah.
So they feel like I should back down because they're struggling. No, that's your choice.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't have no sympathy on them.
Yeah.
Because you had a choice just like I had a choice.
Yeah.
And you chose to go. Like, some girls, like, just really come to work to get high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Off drugs. And then some are alcoholics. Like, I know this one girl, she used to come to work at, like, 11:30 in the afternoon and be drunk already.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Before we even, like, put our clothes on.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is just too much for me.
Right.
I can't do this. Like, but, day shift is different from night shift.
Is it?
Like, yes. Like, I meet a lot of lawyers and doctors. But nighttime, it's like a whole different crowd.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
You got to be prepared for it. That's why you always need to be there early so you can see where you're going to move at. Like, I just move different. That's why I said I only dance, like, with 10 to 15 men.
Okay.
Out of the whole club.
Okay, yeah.
Most girls dance with the whole club. I'm not doing that. You don't give me $5.
Right. I gotcha. Yeah.
I'm not taking $5. I'm sorry.
You are a pro. You are absolutely. Yeah.
Just like I said, I don't want to be there, so why waste my time and not make no money? What is the point of me going?
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. Is it in here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Miss K.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you sharing. It's a whole different world than anything I know
You'll
much about.
hear about the new story tonight.
All right.
Yes. Thank you.
So. You bet. Thanks. So, a couple things to note. Atlanta is known, among many other things, of course, for its strip clubs, and it is a big part of the culture here. I've just never really been much of a fan myself. I was raised in a conservative Christian environment growing up, so of course strip clubs were a big no-no. Then, when I was older and going through my wild years in my 30s, where I wanted to try all the things that I couldn't do when I was younger, I ended up figuring out that I just didn't really enjoy strip clubs like some other guys did. But back to Miss K here. I think one of my big aha moments was I realized at some point during our conversation that she was an independent contractor just like me. I've spent a good chunk of my adult working life as an independent contractor. And it was really interesting to see that although the context in which we both earn a living was different, some of our struggles were really the same. And her understanding of human nature and of how to be a professional with people could be a clinic on how to succeed in sales and business in any arena. I've mentioned before in season 1 that the way I put together an episode is that I start with the first story and build out what I'm going to say before and after it. Then I move to the next story and repeat the process. This ensures that I'm essentially discovering, along with you, the listener, what the next story is. Anyways, I'm enjoying the thread this episode has so far around sexuality, or at least sexuality-adjacent topics. And just for the record, I did not pick this next guy up at the same strip club or even close by to where I had dropped off our previous rider, Miss K.
Story number 118. Saturday, January 30th, 2021, 3:32 a.m.
Well, first and foremost, let me say thank you for inviting me to be a part of the Backseat Confessions Podcast.
Oh man, thank you. That's really beautiful. I appreciate you saying that.
Thank you. This is quite an interesting experience. But I guess the story that I would like to tell tonight actually pertains to my job.
Okay.
As we discussed just a moment ago, my job, I do work in one of Atlanta's many adult entertainment clubs,
yes.
Strip clubs.
Uh-huh.
I guess I would like to tell a story about that.
I love it. And what specifically do you do in the club? What's your sort of role?
Just as the anonymous name suggests, I actually work in the kitchen.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, and we were commenting, or I was commenting, I'm not a strip club guy, so I can't verify this, but I've heard that some of the best food in Atlanta is in the strip club. So we were laughing about it because it's like, normally it's like, oh man, don't ever touch the food in the strip club, but in Atlanta, not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I'm sorry. So what's your story tonight?
I think, like I said, I would like to definitely touch on the whole strip club angle.
Okay.
Really just to try to break some common misconceptions about what people really expect when they come into one of those types of establishments. I've been able to, first and foremost, virtually all nightclubs, strip clubs, those types of things, gentlemen clubs.
Yeah.
They're actually owned usually by some sort of parent company.
Okay.
One parent company may own 5, 6, 7, 8 different clubs.
Right.
They might be just regular bars.
Okay.
Maybe sports bars. Obviously, there are a couple that own strip clubs. More so specifically about not only what I do, but what I've seen. I do work in the kitchen. That's usually separate from the actual showroom,
right,
which is where all the action happens. But actually getting to work in there, I get to jump on all the juicy details and the scoops and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that I would like to say is that that's definitely an establishment where, like, actors, athletes, musicians, they definitely like to frequent.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, quite a few politicians that also go in there.
Okay, yeah.
And this is where I'm actually kind of glad that this is anonymous, even though obviously no names.
Yep.
Some of these politicians, they're not in office anymore.
Okay.
But with different types of establishments, not the one where you picked me up from, but there was one named Follies.
What was it called?
Follies, Follies.
Yeah.
It's shut down right now.
Okay,
they had a undercover operation. They had like over a dozen plainclothes detectives go in there, and they busted a very large prostitution ring.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Long story short, they lost their business license. They're not going to be able to open back up.
Ooh.
The owner literally is going to sell the building. They're going to change the name of it and open back up as a different strip club sometime later this year, so don't worry. All the club patrons of Atlanta, one of your favorite spots will be open back soon. But honestly, the stuff that goes on in there goes on in all clubs. Doesn't matter how illustrious it may seem.
Oh, wow.
Everybody partakes.
Wow.
It's an industry of vice.
Yeah.
Closed doors, very few cameras.
Okay.
And everybody gets a heads up if the police pull up on the lot.
Yeah.
So people feel safe to come in there and do certain things. VIP booths, closable doors, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Beautiful women, alcohol, drugs.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a rock star to live that lifestyle.
Right. Yeah, and it's definitely, from what you're painting, it's the perfect cocktail for vice and trouble. So
absolutely. Now, most of the individuals that work there, they are professionals. You know, your doormen, your floormen, security, bartenders, they all work to make sure that no small group of individuals really comes in and ruins it for everybody.
Sure.
So if you can party, so long as you're not partying too hard, by all means, come on in and enjoy yourself. There's honestly something for everybody in there.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I would like to break another common misconception that we were talking about earlier. Really not that dirty. We can't afford to be dirty.
Wow.
We get consistently higher health inspection scores for the kitchen than most 3-star restaurants in the city.
Wow.
We get higher scores than the Southern Art. We get higher scores than Ruth Chris's.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah. We literally, they come in, most establishments in the city, if they have to get a health inspection or EcoSure to come in, they might get visited once or twice a year.
Yeah.
Well, we get visited every month.
Wow.
If we get lower than an A, we get a week to clean it up. If they come back and it's not fixed, we get a citation. If they come back and it's not fixed, the kitchen gets shut down.
And I'm assuming that's because you are a strip club, there's like extra scrutiny.
Yes, that's exactly why. Okay. That is the exact reason.
So like in a weird way, this is obviously just occurring to me now, but in a weird way, because of this extra scrutiny, if I want really good, clean food, I probably should be frequenting strip clubs for my food. I mean, if my big concern, which it personally isn't, but if my big concern is a really clean kitchen, I'm gonna bet there's a higher chance that you have a clean kitchen than maybe
it's a weird bet to make, but it honestly is the safe bet. And this is information that can be looked up.
Right.
The city has all this information. If you ever walk into an establishment and just wanted to ask the questions, even though we do keep that paperwork in the back of the house, we do have to show it to people if they request it. We're not ashamed of it. Like I said, for the almost 3 years now that I've been working for the company that owns some of these clubs, we've never had anything lower than, I would say, a 86.
Okay.
That does actually, at least to me, that sounds bad. I do work in a kitchen.
Right.
But like I said, there are a bit extra scrupulous. We've had health inspectors tell us to our face, you should walk out here with a perfect score, but we can't let y'all have that.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have to take a point off for something. And they'll take it off for the most menial things.
Yeah.
This go around, we got a 96 when the health inspectors came in a couple of weeks ago. They'll probably be back next week. But they took the points off because we used the wrong types of thermometers for our freezer. When last year they updated all the policies and everything like that, and that was the exact specific brand that it says in the paperwork for the health inspectors for the entire county of Fulton. Wow. But so like I said, messing with you just can't let us, it can't be a perfect score.
That's so funny. So before we end this, in the last, let's say, year or so, any particularly, I don't know, just interesting, unique, funny, odd story that just pops to your mind?
In the past year or so?
Yeah.
If I got a minute or two to droll off on some rather interesting things.
Yeah.
We had multiple Hawks players come in early January of last year and get into a fist fight. We had a couple of Falcons players earlier last year come in and have a fist fight. We had a couple of musicians. They didn't get into a fist fight. However, they did get into a shouting match from across the club.
Okay.
Because one guy was like just spending such a scrupulous amount of money that it literally covered the entire carpet. You couldn't see the carpet. It was just covered in assorted bills.
Oh my
and all the girls were obviously flocking to that VIP section.
Right.
And the other artist, he and his group, they didn't appreciate that. So things, like I said, it was almost explicitly verbal.
Right.
But that's because, the security and the floormen, they kept it that way.
They kept it that way, yeah. Smart.
We've had multiple music videos shot in there.
Oh, cool.
They'll usually shut the club down for that, but we've also had movies and TV shows shoot scenes in the specific club that you picked me up from.
Wow.
Boomerang on BET, the show Halle Berry produced.
Yeah.
Superfly, it was a movie that came out a couple years ago.
Of course, yeah.
Other programs and things like that on BET. But it's really never too boring a thing. Obviously, because of the pandemic, for about 3 months, from March to June, we were shut down. But after it opened back up, we experienced a boom in business that they haven't really had in like over a decade.
Are you serious?
It was literally so busy that multiple times we would run out of 1s, 5s, and 10s.
That is nuts.
We would sell out of food, we would sell out of liquor, and all this is operating on 35% max capacity. And here's an extra part where I'm glad that this is anonymous. We never followed that max capacity policy. Never. It's a club. You have to, in order to make that money, because our taxes and bills, not only for the facility and the building that I work for, but just for all the other buildings in general. It's so expensive. And then we're talking about one of the biggest sources of cash in the city.
Absolutely.
On any given night. Tonight's a Friday and it was a pretty busy night. There may have been over $200,000 that may have flowed through that building tonight. At least that has made its way into the safe and has been exchanged out.
Wow, that's nuts. Yeah, I will say, as a rideshare driver, I've been noticing that some Friday nights, of course, like all the Buckhead bars are packed and all the bars are packed. But right now, as of right now, my car says it's 31 degrees outside. So my guess is those areas are pretty light tonight.
No, absolutely not. There's nothing that will stop people from going out except wet. It only gets slow when it rains. All right. Even when it snows.
But so earlier tonight it looked slow, and then last night when I was running on Thursday, there was nothing going on in Buckhead. I mean, nothing.
Buckhead.
Buckhead, I said, yes. But what I'm saying is the strip clubs are packed.
Yes.
They're like, so that was my point, is like...
my apologies.
Right, yeah, no problem. But yeah, the Buckhead bars, really, it does depend on the weather, because everybody's got to get out and walk, and the girls want to wear, next to nothing.
They do bar hop. That's right. That's a good point.
Right, but... the strip clubs are they're banging. And to your point, I did not realize, of course, that it's this is actually one of the better seasons that strip clubs have had in a long time. But it's so interesting. So, and I know you're not necessarily an expert, but it's just your opinion on it. But why do you think that over the last 10 years now, in the middle of pandemic, why do you think it's exploding? Like, what's the rationale there?
This is actually something that, working in there, I've discussed with multiple of my coworkers, like half the building, and from basically what I've heard from them, it boils down to a few things. One, what really started it off at first was the fact that everybody got their $1,200 stimulus check, and then a week later we opened back up.
Right. Okay.
And so people have literally just been coming in there throwing that good free government money.
Good government cheese at the girls. I love it. Okay.
However, that wouldn't explain why literally since January we've been busting numbers. Another reason is probably because now with the music industry, there's been an influx of like artists and stuff from Atlanta, and even the club that you picked me up from, that club has been mentioned in more than just a couple songs. Future, Gunner, Young Thug, they've all mentioned it in their songs. They've all been in there. OG Maco's been in there. Quite a few, and not just rappers, R&B artists as well. Trippie Redd's been in there a couple of times. Mulatto's been in there. She's a prominent Atlanta rapper slash artist. And people have always liked what's cool. And so the strip club kind of calmed down for the past couple of years, and now that it's being talked about more and more so in music, especially with rappers like Blueface and DaBaby and everything like that.
And was this like an intentional marketing move on the part of the owners of the strip clubs, or is this just like, hey, this is just what people are singing about and it's just sort of happening and you guys are the lucky beneficiaries?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the former, but from what I've at least seen in there, there have been some individuals like some of my building managers. They've been working in that club and for the company, some of them for a couple decades now. One of my building managers, she started off as an adult video actress. And then she started as a dancer in the clubs as well. She was also doing that on the side, and now she literally runs like 3 of them. She literally earlier today, she brought in 4 Publix bags, those green reusable bags, stacked with 20s.
Good Lord.
$100,000. I now know what $100,000 in 20s looks like. It's a lot. That's a lot. It's so much paper. I can see why people like hundreds. Because anything smaller, any large amount of money, it's just not feasible.
Not practical.
But apparently it'll always fluctuate like that. Every 7 to 8 years, there's always a cycle where it dips and then it explodes and then it goes back to slowing down.
Interesting.
And it just so happens that the past year or so, we're on the up cycle.
The upside of it that is so fascinating. Gosh. Well, I know I need to let you out. This has been absolutely fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing, my man. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, sir. Once again, thank you so much for having me on.
And I appreciate your candor and kind of like peeling back the curtain a little bit for those of us who are not as familiar with that world.
And I wasn't familiar with it myself. Just the last thing before I hop on out, I wasn't familiar with it myself. Fun fact, my mom was actually the one who recommended me, because I've always been a chef. So I've always supported myself with cooking. She recommended to me to go and start looking into those types of establishments because I'm also a college student. So the daytime isn't always feasible. So I've always been looking for the third shift, night shift. And she was like, those strip clubs, they sometimes have nice food. And I was like, Mom, no one eats in a strip club. Like they don't sell food in there. And she was like, yes, they do. Go to Magic City and apply. And even though I applied for Magic City, I didn't get the job there, but I got transferred over to another location. And a couple weeks after that, when they trained me there, they put me right to the spot where you picked me up from tonight. And I've been there, like I said, for almost 3 years, but had no idea that stuff like that even existed.
I love it. It's fantastic. So thanks, Mom.
Right?
Mother knows best. Appreciate you, my man.
3 years later, this is like the longest job I've ever actually held. So yeah, Mom does know best.
I love it. I just find the inside workings of any industry from a business standpoint to be interesting. And strip club and nightlife space is even more fascinating in many ways. Off mic, Chef here told me about seeing people in the highest public offices meeting to do business in the club, as well as prominent business and public figures. So interesting. So there are a lot of people out there that believe if you just make your intentions known, the universe will help you manifest your desires. And this next short story is a pretty good case in point of shouting out your intentions and having them met.
Story number 119. Monday, February 1st, 2021, 8:24 p.m.
I lived in Austin, Texas for a little bit.
Love Austin.
Like 6 years.
Wow.
And, I'm kind of a pothead. That's a thing of mine. So
Right.
I'd always had weed. That was something that I just, didn't even really think about every day. Well, one particular night I couldn't find my stash. So
Right.
I went to the bar and I had some drinks with people and I got a little drunk. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Drag in Austin. It's the road right in front of UT. They got little shops and stuff like that, but the whole campus is right there.
Yep.
And it's a major road. And I literally walked up and down it for maybe a half hour, just screaming at the top of my lungs, I need weed. I need weed. And then finally, this guy at the bus stop just goes, hey, psst, hop on the bus with me. And, then I got it. It worked out.
Oh my God.
So, it was just a little story.
That's great. Were you even going in the right direction or anything?
I just walked up and down the street.
No, I'm saying once you got on the bus, was the bus going anywhere?
I had no idea where I was going. Yeah, I think I just did the full loop till I hopped back off. But yeah, some college kid, I hopped on, he's like, what you need? And I probably got like an eighth or something.
That is amazing. By the way, you have, it didn't hit me until you said, that you're a little bit of a pothead, but you sound a little bit like Seth Rogen, who of course is like one of the most famous potheads ever.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that Seth Rogen thing going on. But yeah, man, thanks so much for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Take care. Cracks me up that this dude was just going for it. Also happy he wasn't snatched up by the popo, though, as he was literally shouting out his weed need. Good stuff. Our last writer was one of those guys that just left a deep impression on me. I could tell he was wise and also compassionate, especially towards people of color who were creatives but didn't understand the business side of the industry.
Story number 120. Monday, February 1st, 2021, 11:56 p.m.
Story in Backseat Confessions is, I've been in the music entertainment industry for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And you asked me earlier, is there anything I'm embarrassed about? Well, let me just say this.
Okay.
Being in the entertainment industry for a long time.
Yes, sir.
I have sold 21.6 million albums, 2 Diamond Awards, 26 Billboard Awards, co-produced BET Comic Review, but I was still broke.
Wow.
And it really hurt me that we don't own distribution rights.
Yeah.
And I found this out in the back seat, actually, in a car and at a taxi.
Okay.
From a executive that I couldn't stand, but we had to talk going to the airport.
Yeah.
And he taught me everything that I know. So being embarrassed actually helped me.
Wow.
And I learned, birth on the earth what you are worth and stop giving away your purpose. And from that, I created a television network called XOD Network.
XOD, okay.
And I've learned that we went from MySpace to Facebook, from Facebook to Twitter, from Twitter to Instagram, from Instagram to Snapchat, Snapchat to YouTube, from YouTube to LinkedIn, from LinkedIn to TikTok, and how much have you made? So saying that, I've learned to own the distribution and help people with their podcasts,
okay,
or their own shows, their own channels, their own networks.
Yeah.
So if 100,000 people listen to you or watch you for $2, you're making 200,000 a month times 12.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's my backseat confession.
I love it. Well, I am so grateful that you were able to take something that is a travesty, where you were involved in so much creativity and not really reaping any long-term benefits, and figure that out. That is absolutely, that's a wonderful success story. And I hope that someone out there hears this and makes the long move, right? Because that's always the tough part is, there's that old saying, do you want the short nickel or the long dime? And it is hard for many of us to figure out, all right, how do I slow down? How do I figure out what the long play is? But that's amazing. I'm really great. I guess I say I'm proud, but I'm also really grateful that you figured that out. Because just in talking to you the little bit you've been in my car, you are a very, very good dude. I can tell you have a heart of gold.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you love to see it when the good guys win, because not unfortunately in business, it's the sharks to figure it out first, and then the good guys got to sit there and they got to realize, like, man, we got to figure this out too.
Very much so.
Yeah. So. Anyways, thanks, Dominic, for your story. Hope it inspires someone. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
I think for all creatives, we're at this point in society, especially with technological advancements and how most consumers get their content, that it is difficult to know how to get paid for the work we do. Dominic is onto something with starting his own network that lets the artist retain rights to their work and keep the lion's share of the profits. We need this type of innovation in the creative space, for sure. I loved our riders today who challenged the misconceptions that some of us may have. From who is or who isn't a good lover to the inside workings of the strip club scene, I personally love when I get to learn about worlds that are just typically hidden from me. And I also love to find that there's not nearly the separation that I once imagined between myself and folks in a seemingly vastly different context than my own. But our final writer today has given us something to really chew on. To have had all of that seeming success and still end up broke is a lesson all in itself. I'm going to leave us with something Dominic said that just really hits home. Birth on the earth what you are worth and stop giving away your purpose. Peace, my friends. This is what happens when you are a rideshare driver in Atlanta and ask people for their stories. These weren't handpicked people with great stories. They just happened to get in my car and be gracious enough to share with all of us. And who knows, maybe someday you'll be in Atlanta and need to grab a rideshare and end up telling the rest of us the next great story on BCP. I'd actually encourage you to, every so often, just ask a stranger to share a story from their life. You never know what you might learn. I believe that our stories are powerful. They can make you laugh, cringe, cry, or even get you to think or feel differently. Our stories can truly make this world a little bit better place. So please subscribe, rate, and listen to this podcast and share it with as many adults as possible. It would mean so much to me. First and foremost, I want to thank the incredible writers who trusted me with your stories. You're my heroes. Thanks also to all the people in the background who have believed in this project/dream. All of the music on this podcast was found on pixabay.com, and it was free, which is an amazing gift when you're starting a podcast on a shoestring budget.